And as a viewer, I count the moments to see how long she can stay at the top of her high before she comes crashing and tumbling down. Cinematography, writing, and costume design are all elements that have contributed to Euphoria's success and the grip that it has on popular culture. But the music selection might be the most integral to the show's identity. This show consists of a constant whirlwind of emotions where stillness and temporary happiness induces a brief feeling or state known as euphoria. Euphoria's playlist incorporates music from different eras as well as different genres to represent a wide spectrum of emotion. Rarely anything in the show is defined in black or white or seen through just one lens, but instead told through many different perspectives that have its own unique color and texture. The sound selection gives this show rhythm and movement and makes the darkest moments palatable and in most cases entertaining. It ushers in a theme by piecing together different points of view that includes inner monologues, narratives, and flashbacks. The orchestral string scores ruse moments of bliss and temporary serenity.
Is there a heaven?
Yes.
How do you know that?
There are these interesting chime sounds that interpolate to give the scenes of the show some breathing room. This is when you see the pacing of the show slow down and start to float. And these are moments usually reserved for feelings of ecstasy when the mind wanders and drifts off into fantasy. And there's a freedom in that that's unparalleled. The suspenseful music that is a part of the score is used to push the limits of invincibility, unravel uncomfortable details guarded by secrecy, foreshadow, or to mask fear. When the pacing of the music matches the rate of anxiety, the characters succumb to the reality that they aren't in control, but are simply just there for the ride. The suspense rises in volume until the tension dissipates, or during moments when dialogue takes priority. For every one of these moments the character survives, comes another shot at redemption. But leave it to their devices and self-destructive habits, it usually becomes a cycle perpetuated by vanity. Dark synths and piano ballads add a rippling effect that provide an emotional buildup of intensity, giving the scenes of the show some gravity. The hip-hop records and punchier drums are added for attitude, whereas the EDM records, along with the vocal chops, build on a primal emotion that resides in the most unsettling and suppressed side of human nature. Except in this storyline, life will be played out as if our deepest desires were to run rampant, irrespective of consequences. The faster tempos and BPMs are utilized for when a breaking detail is emerging, or for when a rumor is spreading, or to highlight temptations and desires, as well as challenges and hardships. There are many themes in the show that are enhanced by the music, such as perception and body image, exploring sexuality, as well as the concept of mortality, and these are usually the bigger storms of the show. It's interesting how these moments are almost always followed by a silencing crescendo, adding intrigue and mystery for what is about to happen. Euphoria is scored by Labrinth, with music contributions from writer and executive producer Sam Levinson and music supervisor Jen Malone, and they spoke with Vanity Fair on how the music plays such an integral part in this show. Jen Malone said, "We get the scripts, we do what's called a music breakdown, we see what's scripted in. If somebody's dancing, if there's a party, is there a pre-record, is there people singing along? Then we contact the clearance folks at the labels and publishers and independent licensors. Every day I'm sending them like 15 quotes, and they're all urgent. It's a collaboration. It's all about serving Sam Levinson's vision of the story, how music plays into that and helps tell that story. That's working with Sam, and that's working with the editors who are eating, sleeping, and breathing every moment in those episodes. When you look at the show, there's a minimum of 20 songs per episode. It all becomes a blur. I'm just proud of the fact that I got through all of them." Sam Levinson said that there's this kind of hopefulness to his music that feels triumphant.
Whatever makes me feel excited, I'm going to find a way of injecting it into the music.
Labrinth's compositions play to the darker and heart-wrenching moments of the show, and these compositions shine a spotlight on moments that lead to introspection and self-discovery. Jim Malone helped create a balance in the music that ironically plays off of the emotional imbalances of these characters experiencing the plot. There's so many highs and lows, and it's detailed perfectly through the music, thus creating a space for a diverse selection of music to be able to thrive and make an impact. And I noticed there's a very unique relationship between the music and the writing of the show. For example, take the title name for episode 2 of season 1, Stuntin' Like My Daddy, and how that ties into the show's unanimous villain up until this point, Nate Jacobs, how that explores the unsettling, rather chaotic father-son relationship and how those habits appear to mimic each other. And it's all told through an incredible soundtrack of music. I love how the more vintage up-tempo soul records are utilizing this plot to elicit positive memories. Usually they are the soundtrack to some of the flashback moments of the main character's journey as she's detailing her past and how she got to where she is in present time. And like the song Brighter Tomorrow, it gives me a sense of hope that things will be better for this character and the rest of the characters in the show, but it doesn't seem like anything will be better for them for the foreseeable future. Just darkness. But like I said earlier, it's a way to make some of these darker moments more palatable. It elicits a connection of empathy in some of these songs, and even elicits a connection of a certain primal feeling in these more chaotic and abysmal situations where these EDM and hard-hitting drums and the rap records are playing in this show, that enhances the flow and enhances the emotion. I think the most important element of the show is captivating the emotion, whether that be through the writing, whether that be through the cinematography, and most importantly through the music that makes this show a damn good show. Take the song Mount Everest that is playing at the moments when Rue's dopamine receptors are firing at a rate that is unsustainable. It represents the climb, this chase towards Rue's next high, next adventure. And as a viewer, I count the moments to see how long she can stay at the top of her high before she comes crashing and tumbling down. I find it fascinating how music plays a prominent role in not only how the characters in the show process the fictional world around them, but also how it affects both you and I in our everyday lives. According to the University of Arizona, there's a science to how music plays a role in brain development, mood, and health. When music is played, it activates a dopamine release, a neurotransmitter and chemical response that contributes to the brain's reward system experience with food and sex. Music can also boost the immunity in the body, stimulate endorphins, and help energize mood, assist in treatment of depression and diseases, and also promote wellness and assist in stress management. Listening to classical music enhances dopamine secretion, synaptic functioning, learning, and memory. Rap stimulates emotion, language, motivation, motor functions, and processing via a flow state. And heavy metal elicits a sense of identity and a knack for community development, and pop improves endurance and enhances physical performance. The euphoric state of mind that is achieved in this show always revolves around addiction. The window of this state of mind is far in between that the bulk of the show almost becomes more about the chase and the thrill to the next high. Whether it is through recreational vices or attention, the obstacles in between these brief moments of euphoria comes with consequences and a costly price. Addiction is an illness that most would see as abysmal, with very few silver linings or color. In this show, it's an experience that resembles a car crash, horrifying, but you can't take your eyes off it. Music accompanies the most darkest moments of human nature, brought to the light, with every choice pushing the limits between life and death. With all that in mind, the one question I have as a viewer is, how worth is the risk to get to your next high?
Wet, bitch, I'm the best bet. And don't bring your best friend, because she too desperate. Oh, you get the best head, best things on my best bet. Ain't coming for breath, yeah, she hailing my best friend, yeah.